Welcome to Seattle Atheist Church. Atheist, agnostic, skeptic, whatever you like to call yourself, you are welcome here. At Seattle Atheist Church, we call ourselves an atheist church because you will never hear anything supernatural promoted from the podium. So, I want to tell you we have a few announcements. I want to make sure I covered them all. So today, at the Wayward Coffee House on 65th and Roosevelt at 3 p.m., we're going to be playing board games. And on Friday the 19th at like 7 o'clock at night, we're going to have a movie night. We're going to be watching the movie Jesus Camp. And the location is not posted on the website, and because it's marked private, it's not showing like up at the top, but you can see it. So anyway, I'm Ruth at SeattleAtheist.church if you need to write me, but that has limited seating, so there's like 9 more spots, so if you'd like to go, please sign up. It's in like a little movie theater in an apartment complex, so it's yeah. And then Saturday the 20th, we're going to be having our drinks at Brower's in Fremont. So you're invited to all of that. And then the way that we do it here is the members ourselves give the talk, and then we get into a circle and have our discussion. The discussion part is as much part of sort of the service as the talk part. And so Elise, welcome up.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is my first talk, so be very kind. No, so my topic today is on sustainable living, and sustainable living is incredibly important, but I think we all know that here. Seattle's pretty great about the composting and the recycling and the riding the bus. So I chose to look at this as sustainable living with a focus on saving you money, because I needed to narrow it down somehow, and why not save money, yeah? So I was on Facebook, and a page that I like from my hometown called the Sustainable Living Center shared a really beautiful definition of sustainability. And they said that development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the future generations, ensuring balance between economic growth, environmental care, and social welfare. And if we look at sustainability from that perspective, who can argue with it? We are currently with a presidential administration that isn't so focused on sustainability, isn't so focused on preserving our resources, but if we look at it with the intent to balance economic growth, environmental care, and social welfare, no one can argue. So the first thing I'm going to discuss is doing your laundry. This is a very accessible talk for things we can all actually implement into our lives. So, washing your laundry, 75% of the energy used goes to heating that water in the wash. The dryer is actually not that inefficient. So, if you were to wash a load of laundry in Seattle, it's 68 cents with an Energy Star machine. That's not bad. But if you wash in cold water, which gives you less shrinkage and fading over time, so your clothes will stay more beautiful longer. You're also going to save 13 cents a load. Again, not a huge savings, but when you add the environmental impact of that, that's pretty good. So there was a study done on whether hot water cleans clothes better than cold water. Valid argument. And that study was by J.A. Smith in 1987, called The Effect of Water Temperature on Bacterial Killing in Laundry. And he was looking at a hospital approach, but I think his findings very much translate into our daily lives. And he found that washing with bleach, which I don't necessarily recommend, but if you wash with bleach in hot water or cold water, you get the exact same bacterial counts. The water temperature does not make a difference. He furthered the study and used a low temperature wash formula and a regular temperature wash formula. So that's like Tide cold water versus Tide regular. And if you use a temperature correct detergent, you get the same number of bacterial counts regardless of hot or cold water. So certainly there are some times you would not want to wash in cold. If you've had a very bad sickness in your family, or you're doing a lot of diapers, or there are some things that should be washed in hot, but otherwise consider washing in cold. We'll save energy and money. Also dryer balls. Has anybody heard of wool dryer balls? They're fabulous, and I'm a huge proponent of them. It's a ball made of 100% wool. You throw 4 to 6 in the dryer, and they reduce static cling. They bounce the clothes around, so they actually decrease drying time. If you have a dryer with a sensor, it will turn off more quickly. And they last, I've been using mine 6 years now. So dryer sheets aren't that expensive. It's like $4 or $5 for 180 or whatever. But if you're using them over 5 years, they have no chemicals. The impact to the environment's relatively low. Wool is a relatively renewable resource, as long as we have space to feed sheep. Yeah. So it's a good option, and they're not very expensive. So the next thing I'm going to convict you guys on is hard for Americans, and that's why I chose it. And that is showering. How often should we shower? And it's a problem because people love feeling clean. They love, it's a ritual. It makes you, wakes you up in the morning or makes you feel ready for bed, whatever it is. So the EPA stated that 17% of water use in homes is from showering. It's a decent proportion. A study by Dr. Elaine Larson found that frequent showering can dry out your skin and leave it more susceptible to a variety of health issues. It also destroys the good bacteria on your skin, so if you come into contact with something kind of gross, you don't have as much defense in that respect. Her study, in the end, recommended showering 1 to 2 times a week. Now, I don't think that's entirely reasonable. And certainly, if you work out or have a very dirty job or shower as much as you need to. But from the environmental standpoint, and if you're just sitting at your desk all day, according to the Seattle City Light website, a 10-minute shower with a low-flow shower head costs 68 cents. That is very little money. So, but if you take, and I've rounded all of these numbers because they were hard, but if you take a shower every single day for a year, that's $228 a person, or $914 for a family of 4. I mean, nearly $1,000 to shower everyone in my family every day, a year. I mean, that's kind of a lot of money. So I did the numbers for 3 showers a week. That's what I do, actually, and I find it reasonable. As long as you're not being crazy active, it's fine. So if you shower 3 times a week, you're looking at $98 a year per person, or $392 a year for a family of 4, which your total savings from, if you dropped right now from 7 showers to 3 showers, is $131 a person. With $522 for a family of 4, you could have a small vacation, a weekend outing with your family, or extra Christmas gifts, or whatever it is that's important. Taking fewer showers will, have a direct impact on the amount of money you're spending. How am I doing for time? I'm not doing well for time. All right, so another thing that I'm personally fascinated with is reusing food scraps. And something I ran into on the internet recently is that a lot of the foods we buy from the grocery store on a regular basis can be regrown on your kitchen windowsill with practically no effort. And so if you think of like a head of romaine lettuce, when you cut the bottom off, you have that part you don't use. It's like hard and sometimes has some roots on it, and you just throw it away. If you put it in a bowl of water and stick it in the sun, it will grow roots. And once it has enough roots, if you put it in a pot, continue to water it, it will grow a new head of lettuce. And so you just paid however much you paid for your romaine, you got 2 romaines out of it, and you can continue doing that. So in theory, if you have the time, you would never have to buy romaine lettuce again. And you can do this with celery and potatoes and ginger and garlic and anything with seeds like tomatoes or peppers. But the one thing you want to watch out for is it needs to be organic if you're going to pull the seeds out of it and pop them, because you run the risk in conventional fruits and vegetables that the seeds will be sterilized because they don't want you doing this, whereas in organic seeds, they can't have been genetically altered and therefore will grow plants. You can even do big things like apple trees and stuff like that, but I'm thinking, the amount of time we actually have and the amount of space we actually have, which is a windowsill, right? But that's a great way to, I mean, we're going to compost it, but what if it could make you more food? So that's pretty exciting. And I was talking to Alan about this talk actually, and he told me I needed to think bigger. Like, yes, these impacts are small, but can add up if we all, you know, do them, save some money, that's great. But how do we get the next generation interested in being environmentally friendly? Like, it's relatively popular right now, so you don't have to sell them too hard, but I don't know, 4 years of a Trump presidency and maybe it's not so popular. Maybe there is a sales pitch that has to happen. And what I thought of was the national parks. They're already being defunded. They're already, you know, under fire. And so if more people go, if more people enjoy them, that's an added, you know, incentive to keep them, right? And outside, I mean, I had a little girl that I nannied for back in Walla Walla, and she loved the outdoors. She'd be on the computer forever, but if you could drag her outside, she had a whole different experience. And so 75.3 million people visited the national parks in 2015. Olympic National Park, I don't know which direction it is, it's right here, is the 7th most visited national park in our country. And Mount Rainier is number 14 most visited. These are parks that people like to go to. These are parks that are beautiful, and they're literally in our backyard. So certainly we should go by ourselves, but the neighbor kid, your nieces, your children, your nephews, they need to go, right? And if you can take them and have that be a learning experience, it's only going to help the next generation. So, it was so much longer when I did it at home, but I'm done.